My first home with BHADRA is what really set the standards for me. From day one, things just felt sorted. No running around for updates and no surprises during the handover. The team kept me in the loop for everything. And even after I moved in, they would contact me to check if everything was okay. And I still remember there was an incident. The CRM team followed up with me for a small tap leak issue even before I got a chance to report it. And that's the kind of attentiveness you remember. So when I heard about the codename PeakLife, I did not have to think twice. I already knew how they work, how they deliver, and the kind of peace of mind you get. For me, it is like going back to the restaurant where I had a great meal, trust the chef, and really excited to know what's new on the menu. I've seen many developers over the years, but with BHADRA, the feeling is different right from the first meeting. There is a sense of calm and clarity in how they go about things. When you walk into their office or site, it is not about who speaks the loudest or the most promises they can make. It is about what they've already delivered and the work that can speak for itself. When I bought my first apartment, it was the detailing that caught me eye. Even the smallest corners were finished with care. That same approach made me invest again in this codename PeakLife. For me, BHADRA's biggest strength is that the way they build feels like solid and lasting, and the value only grows over time. You won't believe this. When I first walked into the BHADRA office, the security guard called me by my name. The receptionist greeted me like we had met before, and the sales team already had my details ready. It felt like they were expecting me, not like I was just another person walking in. Once I decided to go ahead, the CRM team made the whole process effortless. They kept me updated. They always answered my calls right away. They always had clear answers. And then there is Mr. Sarvesha. I've seen him at the site, talking to the team, checking every detail, and explaining things to the customers himself. You can tell that the standards come from him, and the whole team follows that. Everyone knows their role and is genuinely working towards making the experience smooth to you. One of the things which surprised me most was how involved Mr. Sarvesha is. You generally imagine MD sitting in some big cabin somewhere, but then here he's right there at the site. During one of my early visits, he sat down with me and explained the whole plan himself. He also explained why he chose that location, how he built the homes with light and ventilation, even how they plan open space areas so that every view feels intentional. It was not a scripted pitch. You can see how he genuinely knew and believed in every detail. This level of involvement from the top gives you a lot of confidence. It feels like if the person leading the company cares this much, then the rest of the team will do too. If you ask me what cemented my trust in BHADRA, there are more than one incident. The one incident which stands out the most is when I first moved into my BHADRA home. You hear a lot of small issues for buyers after possession, but here it is different. The walls were perfectly finished, the doors felt like closed solid, and the fittings were like the ones I saw in the sample flat. Even the smallest things like the windows opening smoothly and the balcony railings were aligned perfectly showed the level of care they put in. And when I had a small request to adjust my fixtures, the team was at my door the next morning. That is when I realized that this company delivers quality right down to the smallest details. And when I heard the codename PeakLife, it was a natural step forward, as I already knew the standard they work with, and the decision was easy. Honestly, the real test of a developer is what happens after you move in. With BHADRA, they always remained present and involved even after handing over the keys. After a few weeks of shifting, we received a call from the CRM team asking how the family is settling in. It really felt personal and genuine. One small example stays with me. One of our balcony doors had a small misalignment. I had mentioned it casually during a call. The very next day, a team with tools arrived on the spot and fixed it. There was no need for any follow-ups and repeated reminders. Even months later, when I reached the team with a query about community facilities, documentation, or maintenance, the response was always prompt and clear. That consistent care over time gave me complete confidence in deciding on the codename PeakLife, knowing that the same attention and commitment would be present there as well. I've recommended BHADRA to friends and families with complete confidence. For me, it always comes down to three things: quality, trust, and commitment to timelines. When I talk about BHADRA, I can share my own experience as a proof. In my earlier home, everything that was promised was delivered exactly as shown, right down to the smallest level of detail. The finishes, the fittings, and the way they maintained the common areas all spoke of a standards they've clearly set for themselves. When the handover date came, it was on time and prepared up to a point where I could just walk in and feel home immediately. I've seen friends struggling with timeline delays or last-minute compromises with other developers. But with BHADRA, I can reassure them that what they commit is exactly what they deliver. That is why recommending them never feels like a risk at all. It feels like genuinely sharing something valuable. When you choose to buy from the same developer again, it says a lot about the journey that you've had with them. For me, BHADRA has always been about the trust you can see and touch in the quality of their homes and the way they deliver on time and the professionalism of the people that you deal with at every stage. So when I first walked through the customer experience center for Codename PeakLife, it felt familiar and exciting. I could see the same values that made me buy my first home, but here they've taken everything to a different level. With over 80% open space and homes designed with 100% Vastu compliance and a location that could not be more convenient. Being right next to the Kengeri metro, just 30 seconds from the nice and Mysuru expressway, you're well linked to the rest of the city while still enjoying a sense of openness and calm. It is reassuring when you already know the team's commitment and attention to the detail, because now you can focus on your life in that space rather than worrying about what will be delivered. For me, being associated with BHADRA again is continuing a relationship that has already proved its worth, and with this project that rises the benchmark even higher.